Good morning. Welcome back to Fit Body Secrets, where my mission is to bring you guys inspiration, motivation, and a ton of tips to help y'all on your fitness and your fat loss journey. And I'm going to put y'all on hold for a second while I go ahead and pop onto Instagram and get myself live there. And I think I'm live. Let's just see. Giving it a few minutes. Testing. Am I live? I think I'm live. I'm going to go with it. It says live, so I'm assuming I am live. Good morning and happy Tuesday. Let's roll into it today. I am going to be hosting a live event, masterclass, workshop, webinar, seminar, whatever you want to call it, next Thursday. And something that's really been on my mind is just kind of breaking down a lot of the myths and misconceptions out there around fat loss. I actually put it out on my Instagram and my Facebook, like, hey, does anybody have any specific nutrition topics that you want me to talk about? And one of the things that I'm very passionate about is helping people to understand the right way to lose weight or lose body fat to get them to be in a healthier place, or to achieve the body that they're looking for, to feel confident in themselves. That's like the big thing that I really want to help women specifically with. But I do get a handful of men too, and I love working with my guys. I've got a couple of guys that are doing really well in the program because it's the same shit, just dealing with a couple of different issues. Women do have it a little harder, all right? Guys have a little bit more predictable scale than women do, but we still get shit done. So I thought that today I just wanted to kind of talk about a bunch of different fat loss myths and misconceptions. So if you do end up hopping on here later on, you probably are going to want to watch the replay because you're probably going to miss something. And maybe you catch something and it makes you want to go back and watch the replay. So, and if you guys do have questions as I am talking, please feel free to go ahead and pop those questions in either the comment section on Facebook, on YouTube, or on Instagram, and I'll kind of be hopping around. It's easier for me to see them on YouTube and Facebook, just so you know. On Instagram, I have to kind of go back to a different screen, and I'm not that good of a multitasker. I'm pretty good at multitasking, but not that good. Can only look at one thing at once. I don't have all the fancy gadgets and the two screens and all that kind of stuff like a lot of people do. All right, so let's get into it. So the first misconception that I wrote down that I think is super important to address is that weight loss and weight gain is fat loss and fat gain. And I get this all the time. In fact, I got a text message from a client this morning, and she's like, the scale's up, and I'm kind of mad at myself because I didn't hit my steps yesterday. I'm like, girl, your step count is not why your scale is up today. Like, there's a multiple reasons why the scale can be up today. Just like there can be multiple reasons why the scale goes down one day. What matters most is your consistency with your nutrition and your weight loss trends over time. And you do want to make sure that you are losing fat and not muscle. I don't care if you have 5 pounds to lose or if you have 50 pounds to lose. You want to make sure that you are preserving your lean muscle mass. Nobody wants to lose weight only to be fatter, and that can happen. Your body fat percentage can actually go up if you are not making sure that you are eating enough to prioritize building and maintaining your lean muscle mass. I already see a comment popping up in the chat. So, hey, good morning, Miss Judy. Okay, so weight loss and fat loss are not the same thing. So you are going to see weight fluctuations on the scale. In fact, great people to talk to about this is anybody in the weightlifting community, because they will often have to do water cuts just to make weight, but that doesn't mean that their body composition changed. They literally just dropped water weight, and they're going to put it right back on once they start hydrating again. Okay, so weight loss is not fat loss. There's a number of things that measure your weight, and there's really only one way to tell if you're actually losing fat, which is a body fat percentage. And most of you guys don't have access to that on a daily basis. So I just think making sure you're checking the way your clothes are fitting, looking at other metrics and watching scale trends is better. And this is also why, going down a tangent of why going fast on fat loss isn't always the right thing, because if you lose weight too quickly, you often are losing muscle. Gradual is a lot easier for your body to preserve lean muscle tissue. Usually when you're losing too quickly, you are losing muscle tissue as well. So number one, weight loss and fat loss are not the same thing. Myth number 2, another good one to go down the rabbit hole on. I could probably literally do a podcast episode on each and every one of these. Okay. Number 2 is Fat burning equals fat loss. I get this all the time. People on a low carb diet, they're eating higher fat diets. People doing low intensity cardio in the fat burning zone. People associate fat burning with fat loss, and they are two very different things. Okay. I want you to think of fat and carbs as two different types of energy. Okay. If I have equal amounts of that energy in a system, and I'm burning through one or the other, I still have to burn through all of that energy. Okay. Your body fat does not get tapped into until I have burned through all of its stored energy. Okay. So whether you're pumping your body with body or dietary fat or carbohydrates, we still have to be in a deficit, meaning less energy has to be coming in that is going out in order for us to tap into stored body fat. Basically, we need to empty both the gas tanks. The carb tank has to be gone. The fat tank has to be gone. Your body needs protein to be able to build and maintain lean muscle mass, which is why it's so important to get enough of it. Your body's going to say, hey, there's not enough energy. I actually could utilize some of this extra stored body fat that's sitting here just doing nothing. And that's when the fat loss gets mobilized and oxidized to be used as energy. Okay. It's not just a 1 day or a 2 day thing. It happens over the course of 3 or 4 days of consistently eating less than you are burning, unless you are somebody who is literally in the gym all day. Okay. Not sustainable. All right. So fat loss and weight loss are not the same thing. Fat burning does not equal fat loss. Number 3. Okay. This is a good one, especially for people in my circle. Calories are all equal, and calorie counting is all that matters. Okay. Yes, a calorie is a calorie. So if I have 100 calories of broccoli or I have 100 calories of gummy bears, I have 100 calories. But the thermic effect of those calories being digested, the nutrient density of those calories being digested is very different. They're going to do very different things in my body. Okay. Calories is not all that matters. It is what matters most for weight loss, making sure we are controlling our calorie intake, but the macronutrient breakdown, making sure that we're getting enough protein, right? We want to empty the gas tanks, the carbs and fats, get enough protein, okay? And the right balance of carbs and fats to give you enough energy for your workouts. And this is why I usually will veer on a little bit of a lower fat, a higher carb percentage with the remaining calories after protein, because it's better for fat loss, okay? Not all calories are going to do the same exact thing. So if you're eating 1,500 calories a day, and another thing is if you're eating 1,500 calories a day and you're eating all processed food versus 1,500 calories a day on all whole foods, you're going to look and feel very different. You're going to see a lot faster results eating a more natural diet because your body is working a lot harder. It's getting a lot more nutrition from those foods. I could just go down a rabbit hole right now about packaged foods because of the Instagram, YouTube, Facebook trolls I got about a packaged food post I made the other day, but we'll save that for something else. I just love talking to you guys. So if you guys ever just want to chat, just pop some comments up in the chat and I'll kind of keep over there looking at them. Okay, so that's important. Flex your abs. I'm not going to flex my abs right now, but if you want to learn how to get abs, you can join my fat loss masterclass. I'll just put that out there. All right, so calorie control is all that matters. Not true. Number 4, eating clean is all that matters. This goes on the opposite end of the calorie counting spectrum, is those people that are like, but I eat so clean. I don't understand why I'm not losing body fat. Why am I gaining weight? I mean, I literally made a post about this today because that was me. I was eating a paleo diet, nothing but whole foods, natural foods. I didn't even eat dairy. I didn't eat anything. Like that was not, literally my diet was like protein, like from like chicken, or I barely even ate beef. It was mostly like chicken, a lot of chicken breast, vegetables and like sweet potatoes and stuff. And it's like crazy. Judy, I love hearing that the macro split is making you feel good in your workouts. That's exactly what you should be feeling. You should be feeling better in your fat loss phase, which I'm going to say that'll be my next one I talk about. But yeah, I was eating clean and I was gaining weight. Okay. So clean eating does make it a lot easier, but if you're looking to lose body fat, you have to know the calories and macro needs of your clean eating foods. So it's kind of like there's 2 pieces of the puzzle. You've got the food quality, you've got the amounts of it. You got to get both of them together in order for it to work. Okay. So they both matter. Number 5, you need to follow a low carb or a low fat diet to lose weight. Okay, so people will talk about going on the keto diet or the carnivore diet and how it makes them feel so good and they drop 20 pounds. Or if you're in the low fat community and you're just like, the more the bodybuilding community, you have to stick to these super low fat meals. Guys, these are not necessary and are often very unsustainable, right? So like when you think about people that have done these diets, and I could go down a rabbit hole of like influencers, right? They tell you about, oh, I got this shredded body after doing carnivore for, 6 months. No, you've literally been strength training for like the last 10 to 15 years of your life and you went through a short fat loss phase and now you look shredded. Like that's really all it is. But you don't have to follow any kind of specific diet in order to lose weight. You have to understand your calorie or macronutrient needs and whole food needs. So you don't need anything specific in order for you to lose weight. Okay, that's another myth out there. Number 6, sugar makes you fat. How many of you guys have been told that sugar is the enemy? Like sugar is what is causing you to gain weight. It's what's causing your insulin resistance. It's what's causing your hormones to be off. Okay. While I do not recommend filling your calories with a bunch of sugar, sugar is calorie dense, and often the foods that are high in sugar are hard for us to control the amounts of because we want to eat more of them. There is some truth to the dopamine effect of eating those hyper palatable foods, but sugar in itself is not going to cause you to gain weight. Okay. If you're filling your carbs with a little bit of sugar, that's okay. If like you having your one sweet treat is okay. Now, there is a little bit of a caveat to this that I'd like to say is if you are somebody who tends to crave a lot of sugar and you constantly go to sugar, that's where people start to talk about like the addictive nature of sugar. And it's not that the sugar itself is addictive, just like it's not the alcohol that can be addictive for an alcoholic. It's the feeling that it gives you. It's that numbing feeling. It's the pleasure feeling that you're looking for. And maybe removing it temporarily will help you to resensitize yourself to the little bit of sugar that you might need to get those feelings. So I do think that some people do need to remove it a little bit, but it's not what's actually causing the problems. The problems is it's easy to overconsume calories from it. Okay. In fact, sugar can actually be helpful for some people. If you are an athlete or you're training hard for 2 to 3 hours in a session, having some sugar intra workout is going to help keep your energy stores up for the remainder of your session. Okay. So sugar in itself is not causing you to gain weight or make you fat. Number 7, you need to eat every 2 or 3 hours. Oh my gosh, I could go down the rabbit hole here. And on the Vice, people that are like, you should be intermittent fasting, right? Like it just depends on who you ask. And whenever you see a claim, let me just start this. Whenever you see a claim, like you should be eating every 2 hours, and then you see another claim that's like, you should be doing intermittent fasting. If there is 2 very opposing claims, this is where you have to understand we're dealing with opinions here. It's literally a political debate is all it is. And that's why I want you guys to get rid of all of this shit. And that's why I'm going through all of these things, because these are probably all things that y'all have thought about. I've thought about them too myself. Okay. But eating every 2 or 3 hours is not what you need to be doing to keep your metabolism revving. Your body is doing really well. In fact, what you're eating is not what's actually impacting your metabolic rate. If you want to be more calorie burning, I'm going to be honest, it's less about how frequently you're eating and more about how frequently you're moving. Like that's a big change in the way you might think about things, because the frequency of your food choices of your food doesn't really matter that much. What it does matter more for is appetite regulation and energy regulation. So if you're like, if you're so hungry that like you're waiting and they're like, oh my God, I'm like starving. By the time you go to eat, you're probably going to be too hungry and you're going to overeat. Or if you're like all of a sudden every single day, it's like 3 o'clock and you're like in the energy slumps and you're finding yourself getting cravings for like sugary foods because you're looking for energy, or you're having to drink coffee and now that's impacting your sleep. That's where making sure you're getting in enough energy is important, and maybe having meals a little bit more frequently might help you, but you don't need to be eating every 2 to 3 hours in order to see fat loss results. In fact, for some people that might be too much. I eat about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times a day, but that's between the hours of 4 a.m. and 6 p.m. So that's a pretty long, that's 12 to 14 hours, right? So like I eat around like 4:30. I eat again around like 7:30. I eat again around 10. I eat again around 2, around 4, and then around 6. So that's kind of how I do things, but I also have a lot of calories to get in. If I didn't, I probably would take out 2 of those meals, and I'd probably just eat at like 7:30, probably again at 10, and then 2, and then 5 is probably what I would do. Probably about 4 times a day. But that's just me. I like to eat bigger meals. It doesn't matter though. You can eat however many times you want. I will say this, the more frequently you eat, I do find that the meals tend to be a little bit less satiating. So you're like, usually when people are eating more like every 2 hours, they're eating very small amounts, and it can kind of make them feel more hungry. So it might be easier for you in a fat loss phase to eat more like every 3 to 4 hours. I think that might kind of give you a little bit more meal and then a little bit more space personally. Again, that's just an opinion. I'm not telling you one way or the other. That's just giving you an opinion. But on the verse of this eating every 2 to 3 hours are people that tell you that things like eating at night makes you gain weight, which is my next one, okay? I have once believed that eating at night was causing me to store fat. This was years ago, like when I first started. I thought that because I wasn't up and moving, that my body was going to store those calories as fat. No, my body was going to store those calories as glycogen. It was going to be digesting them and then figuring out what of them it was going to break down into different molecules like essential amino acids and fatty acids and then glycogen. But I'm going to be burning through them the next day. Okay. So I actually think that a lot of people sleep better when they do have a little bit of a snack before bed, because it can actually help with lowering cortisol levels and help, regulating your blood sugar. So you do get into a deeper sleep. So I usually do recommend for a lot of, especially my CrossFit community, those are people that are like doing CrossFit either before or after work, and they have a busy day, having a nighttime snack can be super helpful. And everybody loves dessert. Like, who doesn't love dessert? I love having a little sweet something before bed. I mean, it's just, yeah, you should be able to have that. Okay. So you can totally eat before bed. I always like to make the joke, it doesn't matter what time of day, your food has the same amount of calories. If I have a piece of dark chocolate at 6 o'clock in the morning, have a piece of dark chocolate at 8 o'clock at night, it's still going to be however many calories are in that dark chocolate. My body's not doing anything different with them. Your body's also not burning through that chocolate at 7 o'clock a.m. if you ate it at 6 o'clock. It's just digesting it. It's burning through the food that's already been digested and stored from the previous days. So you don't have to stress about that kinds of stuff. And if you guys get things that are kind of sparking from any of this, please feel free to chime in on the comments. All right, next one. And I'm going to get some hate on this one. I know it. I'm going to have to get ready for some people that are going to have a comment today. Okay, here we go. Number 9. Your hormones or your age are why you cannot lose weight. And I'm going to say that this is the hardest thing to talk about because there are a lot of correlations. And I am not going to say that it is not a little bit harder for some people than others because of hormones, but your hormones and your age are not the reason why you cannot lose weight. Okay, 100%. I am telling you this factually. Here's what you have to understand. Let's talk about aging first. Okay, your metabolic rate up until the time you're 20 years old is increasing. Around the age of 20 to around the age of 60, your metabolic rate will stay pretty steady unless you have changes in your lean muscle mass. So if you are building lean muscle mass, you will have an increase in your baseline metabolic rate. Okay. After the age of 40, many people become more sarcopenic, meaning they are more muscle wasting. That can start to decrease your BMR if you are losing muscle mass. However, this is what you have to understand about this. If you are fueling your body right and you are doing the strength work, you are going to be able to maintain your lean muscle mass. What a lot of people struggle with when it comes to hormones, and especially as we age, or people that deal with things like PCOS or other types of hormonal conditions, is knowing how to fuel the body and how to train through when your body doesn't feel good. Okay. Knowing how to address the appetite dysregulation. So hormone imbalances can often cause cravings for the wrong types of foods. Oftentimes women are not eating enough protein. I'm going to be honest, drinking too much alcohol. And then on the training perspective, when hormones are off, if you're not fueling your body enough, if you have excess body fat, you can become, specifically like estrogen dominant, or maybe you are lacking estrogen. this can make you more prone to injuries. With your mood and your energy being down, you might be less likely to go to the gym. Those things are what causes weight gain in your hormonal ages, your hormonal imbalance ages, I'll call it. Menopause, even as men have hormonal changes as they age too as well. But it more comes down to, when I say it's harder for some people, okay, somebody that doesn't have those underlying hormone imbalances isn't going to have as tough of a time staying consistent with their nutrition and their training. Somebody that's having a lot of those cues and signals, it does make it a little bit harder. It doesn't mean you can't lose weight. It means you have to be even more aware of your calorie intake, and you have to be even a little bit more aware of your macronutrient intake and your micronutrient intake, getting enough fiber, whole foods, micronutrients, vitamins and minerals, and then being very on top of your training. Okay. This is where some women, I'm going down the rabbit hole, can talk to you about how CrossFit's bad for you. No, CrossFit is not bad for you. Okay. You telling yourself that you have to diet every single workout, doing movements that you should not be doing, when your main focus should be building and maintaining lean muscle and getting yourself cardiovascularly fit, is the focus. Okay. So whatever program you're following, you need to be lifting weights, and CrossFit does have a lot of weightlifting in it. You need to be getting yourself out of breath, keeping your body more insulin sensitive. That's not, and we'll talk about that later. It's one of my things here, okay? But I want to just really emphasize, just because your hormones are maybe not where they need to be, does not mean you cannot lose weight. In fact, by dialing in your nutrition and losing weight, sometimes, a lot of times, the hormonal stuff gets better, okay? So just want to really emphasize that, because it's something that really, really, really does get brought up a lot. Number 10. How many of you guys have all heard that myth of starvation mode? Oh yeah. I'm not eating enough to lose weight. That's why I can't lose weight. I just can't figure out why I'm not losing weight. I'm not eating enough to lose weight. I just can't eat all this food. Okay. That is such a myth. But here is what I want you to also understand about this. Metabolic adaptation is what happens. All right. So basically, if you are eating, let's just say you're not dieting at all, and then you decide to start a diet and you're dieting on 1,800 calories and the weight plateaus. And then you start to do more cardio and you start losing weight again, and then it plateaus. So then you drop your calories to 1,600 calories, and then it plateaus. And then you try adding in a little bit more cardio, and then it plateaus. And then you try dropping to 1,400 calories, and then it plateaus. At some point, you get to a place where like you can no longer do any more. Your body is like, all right, it's at a place where like there's no more lower you could go and physically and mentally be able to sustain the diet. So then you get stuck and you're eating 12 to 1,400 calories. And now your body is getting used to running on empty. It's like, okay, this is how much food I got. This is what I'm burning. I can just maintain here. And people will see hormone imbalances, loss of period, other things, anxiety, depression, gut problems. And they're like, I'm not eating enough to lose weight. I don't have an appetite, or vice versa. All of a sudden you're getting binge tendencies. And it's like, man, why is it that freaking bag of chips was like so hard to put down? Okay. Metabolic adaptation is what happens. Starvation mode isn't a true thing, but your body does adapt as you lower calories, and eventually gets to a place where in order for you to lose weight, you have to make a decision to start to get your body to metabolize foods differently by bringing them back up again, giving your body the cues that like, hey, there's energy coming in. So you'll start burning more calories, or you have to keep going down to the point of no return. Okay. I have been there. It's not a fun place to be. Okay. So you definitely want to make sure that you understand that metabolic adaptation is a good thing. It's why all of my clients learn how to try and lose fat by eating as much as possible, not always going to as little as possible. Very, very important. All right, number 11. And I hope this is helpful for you guys. If you guys are listening to after I'm playing it, or even live, I would love some feedback. Number 11, if the scale isn't moving, it isn't working. This is super frustrating. In fact, I have a client right now that I'm dealing with this. Every single day I'm getting a message of like, the scale's not working. This isn't moving. The scale isn't working. The scale isn't moving. This isn't working. And you have to understand, and she is somebody who is very metabolically adapted from being on a high fat diet for a very long time. So it's going to take me a little while. And I know that. Whether she sticks to that or not is going to be up to her, but it's something that sometimes happens. Your scale, like I mentioned in the beginning, weight loss and weight gain is not fat loss and fat gain, is going to fluctuate. All right. Let's just say the average person can lose 1 pound of fat a week. Okay. 1 pound of fat a week. That means that if you were to break that down in ounces, right? Like a pound is 16 ounces. So if you were losing like 2 ounces of fat every single day over the course of 8 days, right? Think about how many things could influence you actually seeing that fat loss on the scale. If I drank, so salad dressing at a restaurant is typically 1 to 2 ounces, right? Think about how much a tablespoon of peanut or 2 tablespoons of peanut butter is an ounce. So if you think about how easy it is to ingest 1 to 2 ounces, you're not going to always see that on the scale every single day. Okay. In fact, you might not even see it over the course of 10 days, but you will see it over the course of consistency over 14 to 21 days. And some weeks are going to be better than others. Like that's just the way it is. Fat loss is not linear and you're not always going to see it on the scale. In fact, women have to deal with this on a monthly basis because around ovulation and menstruation, the weight always fluctuates. We know it's going to happen. The weight's going to fluctuate. It's going to go up or down. And it's just a matter of like staying consistent and not getting in your head about it, right? Because that's what's going to happen. You're going to get in your head and you're going to say, this isn't working. And you're going to be like, whatever, I'm just craving this. It's fine. It's not even working anyway. So why do I even give a shit? Okay. You got to stay consistent. Consistency is what gets you results. Okay. So definitely wanted to touch on that. Number 12, this one kind of goes along with starvation mode is, and it's kind of a myth, but it's more of a misconception, is that you can reset your metabolism, like metabolic resets. Okay. I do use a priming phase in my program, but it's less about like a metabolic reset and it's more about metabolic optimization. Okay. So like, I think that there is some truth to there being a metabolic reset, but your body doesn't like all of a sudden, like, it's not like an on off switch where it's like, oh, everything is back to normal again. But when I talked about starvation mode and, dieting on more calories, metabolic optimization is really important. So like, okay, if you just go to like lower calories, you're never giving your body an opportunity to see what it feels like to eat enough calories. Okay. So with a metabolic reset, what people are really trying to get you to buy into is the fact that maybe optimizing first, let's find out what your body needs to eat to survive, to feel its best, thriving where it's at right now, and then drop from there. And this is very specific to chronic dieters. Like this whole philosophy is very, or people that if you have a significant amount of fat to lose, this probably doesn't matter as much to you. And I think that people focus on it solely from the nutrition perspective, but it also can happen with the movement perspective too. So like so going into that population, if I have somebody that's severely overweight or obese and they're behind their desk all day, they're hardly working out, maybe 3 times a week, the metabolic reset for them might not be about changing nutrition and bringing their calories all the way up, because how is that going to get them to access toward body fat if they're not burning through anything? For them, it might be like, let's find a slight calorie deficit, but let's get you moving more, because that's really what metabolic optimization is. You're trying to get your body to learn how to burn and utilize energy. And so it's not just like, needing a reverse diet to eat as much as possible. That's not always what it is. So there's some truth to this, but there's not this, oh, you need to have this complete like metabolic. You're not going to like just be like, oh my God, I'm metabolically broken and now I'm fixed. Like that's not what it is. We're really looking to optimize. Judy, could you do a show or talk about what typically happens with the scale before, during, and your period when we can expect scale to creep up and drop back down? Absolutely. I will make my next episode talking about period woes for all my ladies out there. So guys, you guys can guys should probably tune in so that they know when to talk to their wives and when not to. But I will absolutely make that a topic to talk about. All right. Well, that was number 12. I am on to number 13, continuing on with the metabolism talk. Let's talk about cheat meals. Y'all love a cheat meal. I've been good all week. Oh man, it's Saturday night. I'm going to hit myself some pizza and ice cream because I earned it. And my coach told me that this is going to help my metabolism speed up. And it's going to make me feel really good going into the week. And maybe you're that person who's been believing for the longest time that that cheat meal is just making you a metabolic furnace. And it's just not the case. Here's what happens when you do eat a larger amount of food in a small sitting. Initially, there is going to be a higher thermic effect of feeding. So you're going to see an increase in energy expenditure in a short period of time because your body has to work to break down that food. I like to think of it like if I'm only putting a little bit of food or a little bit of wood in a wood chopper every single day, and then on Saturday I decide to do my whole lawn and I chop down an oak tree, and that thing's got a bunch of work to do, right? I'm going to be burning through a lot of energy, right? It's the same thing there. You're not doing anything special, and you're only likely just feeding this behavior of binging and restricting yourself. That's really what that is. It's like you're better off having regular amounts of food. So think of it this way: having a little bit of an extra calorie expenditure one day versus eating enough throughout the week to where you're burning more calories every single day. Okay. There's no right or wrong, but I'm going to be telling you the way I'm telling you, sprinkling it in throughout the week, giving you enough calories throughout the week, optimizing your thermic effect of feeding throughout the week is going to be more beneficial to you long-term than having one day a week. So just putting that out there for you guys. Number 14. This is a good one. This is a really good one. Okay. You can lose fat in specific places. So I freaking love looking at Instagram and YouTube and Facebook and people selling their programs. And you'll see a picture of them like with their shirt pulled up and they're like posing with these specific angles to show you their abs. And it's like, follow my ab program to get abs like this, or grow your glutes with these exercises. Okay. So there is truth to being able to grow specific muscle groups if we train them, right? If we're training our legs, we're going to cause our body to need more legs or more muscle to, hold that. But you cannot spot reduce fat. Your body is going to lose fat wherever genetically it feels that it needs to burn fat from. It's not training your abs doesn't mean that you are burning fat from your abs. Your fat cells are throughout your body. It's going to just come off wherever genetically your body loses fat fastest. Everybody genetically holds onto fat in different places, So just knowing that you cannot spot reduce fat. So if you're looking to get abs, it comes down to getting down to a body fat percentage that allows you to see abs. If you don't like the little bit of jiggle below your butt, then it comes down to losing enough fat to get rid of that jiggle below your butt. Okay. So wherever you're at, it's a matter of like getting low enough to see that and knowing when too low or when it's going too low, when you no longer are enjoying the process, when you are not happy with anything else, or when it's taking away from your hormones or your health. Number, where am I? Oh, 15. Number 15. I like this one. Too much high intensity is making it harder for you to lose weight. And people are going back and forth on this one. You've got some people that are like, oh, the high intensity is keeping you fat burning and it's keeping you the EPOC, the post-exercise oxygen consumption and all this stuff. And then you got people like the high intensity is wrecking your hormones and it's making you store fat and cortisol and blah, 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 blah. Okay, let's go ahead and talk about what really matters. High intensity training can be really good for fat burning. Okay. Pushing your body to, in a short period of time, to try and access stored energy in the form of glycogen is going to make you more insulin sensitive. Okay. Your body is going to be like looking for energy quicker. So it does help you become more insulin sensitive, which can help you be more efficient at burning through body fat. However, it needs to be balanced with low intensity training so that you can recover from it, because it can be very hard on the central nervous system. And if you're not getting enough sleep and you're pushing high intensity training beyond just like a threshold all the time, or you're doing it with movements that are causing injuries, this is where we can run into a problem. Okay. So I personally think that high intensity training for most people should be left to a lot of machines. I think that high intensity training using things like ski, bike, row, even running can be a little bit less taxing on the joints and give you that same benefit without a lot of the beat up of a lot of the traditional CrossFit movements. I'm not saying that you can't do high intensity thrusters and pull-ups and stuff like that. But even myself, if you guys did the open workout on Friday, okay, that workout mentally taxed me. And I mean, it wasn't even a ton of reps. I do way more reps on a regular basis, but it was the intensity of those reps that I do not want to do a workout like that for a long time. I don't. So knowing that, like thinking about how that would impact my training if I was trying to do that every single day, I would not be looking forward to it. I would not be looking forward to going that hard in my workouts every single day. Okay. So high intensity training is not bad for your goals, for your fat loss goals. It actually can be a complement and help. It does need to be balanced out though with lower intensity training and making sure that you're getting enough recovery from it. Almost there, guys. Hopefully this is interesting for you guys. Number 17, you can compensate for overeating with exercise. Oof, this is a good one. Man, I overate too much and now what's up, Craig? I'm going to burn it off. Okay. I went on a Friday night and Saturday night, had whatever I wanted, and I'm feeling pretty guilty about it. So I'm going to like really crush it in the gym on Sunday or Monday. Okay. Guys, if you guys realize how many calories you would have to burn through what I would like to call quote unquote binge night, it's just not going to happen. Okay. Like the typical CrossFit workout is going to burn anywhere from like maybe 200, top end, maybe 500 calories. Okay. And I'm talking, that's probably going to be for a 20-minute, 30-minute workout of intervals or whatnot. Most CrossFit workouts are what, in that 5 to 10-minute range. I probably should look at what my calories were from the, and I know they're not accurate, from my Whoop, just to see what I burned during 25.2. But it probably wasn't that high, but the intensity of it was high. So you guys have to realize that in order for you to burn off all the calories that you ate when you overeat, you would have to be working out so much. And that's just not going to happen. You're better off like just moving on. And the second piece of this is oftentimes people like really beat themselves up for having a night where they maybe had a little bit of extra food. And it really isn't like, it really usually isn't even that bad. Like that's why I do actually recommend for a lot of my clients to track, even when they think that they're going to be quote unquote bad, because you might realize like, oh, that wasn't actually so bad. Like it wasn't. I had a client actually last Saturday. She's like, man, I was feeling really bad in the morning and I knew I was going to be over my calories. So I didn't even track dinner. And then I looked in, I'm like, you did track dinner? She goes, yeah, I know. I felt guilty. So I tracked it. I'm like, it wasn't even that bad. She was at like 26 or 2,700 calories. So she was only like over by about 200 from her normal. So it's like knowing that it's like, it's not that big of a deal. You don't have to burn it off. You just get back to work. Like, don't beat yourself up over it. But yeah, I found that CrossFit lifestyle is more important to weight loss and maintenance than the CrossFit class. 100%. Guys, CrossFit class is not CrossFit. CrossFit is a methodology. It is a way of life. It's true. And it's why for a while it was like considered like a cult because CrossFitters they just lived a different lifestyle, So just knowing that it definitely has a lot more than just what you're doing in the gym and component to it. All right. All right. Number 18. The calories burned. So you should be eating back the calories burned so I didn't know how to word this one, but how many of you guys focus on the calories you burn in your training? This is kind of adding on to this one. And you're like, oh, I burned this many calories, so I can eat this many calories. I see this all the time. Or why am I not losing weight if it says I'm burning this many calories? Using your fitness trackers to estimate how many calories you are burning throughout the day is the biggest mistake people make. In fact, I just saw a study from Stanford, I think it was, on this, and it was it was basically measuring the different types of calorie trackers and how they each of them measured like the calorie expenditure per exercise. And for one, every single one of them was so different. And some of them were inaccurate by up to like 93%. So you cannot use these fitness trackers to gauge how many calories you're burning and use that. But what you can use them for is to gauge changes in your energy expenditure over time. So like I mentioned, the adaptation thing, if you notice that your workouts are very consistent, you're kind of following a structured program, which I know can be hard with CrossFit, but you're kind of following a general trend of programming in terms of intensity, in terms of volume, and you're noticing that over time, your energy expenditure starts to go down. That's your body adapting. You're either getting fitter and you have to start pushing your intensity a little bit higher, or your body is just burning less calories doing the same exercise. That's why you can't always use exercise as a way to lose fat. Your body's very adaptable to exercise. Okay. So don't use those trackers there. Number 19. This one also has some truth to it, but I want you guys to understand. A lot of people focus a lot on things like, and this kind of goes into the hormones thing, is insulin and insulin resistance and the GLP-1 drugs, which I could go down another rabbit hole on, but I'm not going to because a lot of you guys do not use GLP-1 drugs, but if you do, we should talk. But insulin sensitivity does play a factor. However, insulin resistance is not why you cannot lose weight, okay? And a lot of people that are insulin resistant focus on, let me just lower carbs and I'm going to get more insulin sensitive. And that doesn't always work. Okay. I truly believe and have seen this firsthand. If you want to be more insulin sensitive, it is more about keeping calories at a manageable place and pushing up your energy expenditure. And sometimes that is trying to figure out how to change your diet to get you more thermic with feeding and getting things up. When it comes to insulin, we have to understand insulin is not a bad hormone. Insulin is a storage hormone, yes, but insulin is also what helps our body build and maintain lean muscle. We need insulin, okay? When our body is in a fat storing state, it means that we are getting too many calories and we are burning. So in order for us to regulate insulin and be more sensitive, we have to be in a calorie deficit. And this is also why a lot of people, in fact, even Greg Glassman talks about how being in a slight calorie deficit, being slightly underfed is actually best for health rather than being overfed. You are going to be a little bit more insulin sensitive. You are going to be a little bit healthier. Your body's going to be more efficient if you are just slightly undereating rather than always overfeeding. Okay. So we don't want to be in a big deficit, but just being on that fine line of slightly underfed is always a little bit better than being overfed. Okay. So, all right. Last one that I'm going to talk about, and then I'll open it up to anybody that has questions, is that there are specific foods or macros or supplements that are going to help make fat burning easier. Okay. There are no fat burning foods. There are no fat loss supplements. Well, let me explain how fat loss supplements work first and foremost. But there are no fat burning foods out there that are going to cause, there's nothing, cinnamon. People take more cayenne pepper, cinnamon. Guys, all this shit is a distraction. All of it's a distraction. Okay. When it comes to fat loss supplements, a lot of the fat loss supplements will have a lot of garbage in there, a lot of herbals that are meant to make you more insulin sensitive or whatnot. But a lot of them are just freaking a lot of things to jack up your heart rate and make you freaking more jittery. Guess what that's doing? It is increasing your non-exercise activity. Okay. Somebody that is moving around like this and talking more and they have more energy and they're more uptight, they're burning more calories just sitting in their day than somebody that's a slump. That's just the way it is. Okay. That's why these things work. You don't need to buy fat loss supplements or any of that shit. There are no fat burning foods. I made a topic today about 0 calorie foods. Okay. You guys have to realize that when it comes to fat loss, this is going to be the last thing I'm going to talk about. Okay. All of this shit that I talked about today was meant to show you that there are so many distractions in the nutrition coaching space and in the freaking, even in like the medical space. This is mostly geared towards fat loss, but I could go off another tangent about what healthy eating really looks like. And, you know, a lot of doctors out there really pushing people off of processed foods. I 100% agree. We need to be eating more natural foods. Okay. But let's push more natural foods, not demonize those foods. Like, let's get people eating more of the things they need to be eating, not removing. Okay. Because guess what? Whenever you take something away, what do you feel? You feel restricted. You don't want to do it. Right. Okay. So all of this stuff, getting back on topic, is a distraction. The fat burning zones, the supplements, the carbs, the fats, all this shit is a distraction. Okay. I just want to make sure that you understand that if you are somebody who is looking to, you need to lose weight. Okay. You are somebody that is over 20 pounds overweight. You are somebody that is under 20 pounds overweight. You need to lose weight. You want to lose body fat. You want to look better. You want to feel better. Okay. I don't care if you have 5 pounds to lose, you have 50 pounds to lose. You need the same exact protocol. And in fact, even if you have weight to gain, like your coach here, okay, who is on a gains train, I am doing the exact same thing. I am eating mostly good quality foods. I am weighing and measuring the amounts, and I am making sure that I'm optimizing to change my body composition the way that I'm looking to change it. Okay. That is the simplicity of what you need. But simple does not mean easy. It is easy to focus on all of these different things. It is easy to focus on one food or this strategy or that strategy. Okay. All of that is a distraction from the really hard truth of the shit that people don't want to do. Okay. Like it's really, really, really simple. Really simple. And I know that not everybody has the same priorities in life. Everybody's got a bunch of stuff. Okay. But I can make it very easy for you. If you are truly somebody who wants to change, like I truly want to see change. I am tired of feeling this way. I am tired of being overweight. All right. I am tired of feeling like shit in my workouts. I am tired of putting on pants that don't fit me. I am tired of dieting. I am tired of thinking about food. Like all of that stuff can go away. The fucking food noise that people talk about, we could go down the freaking rabbit hole of the GLP-1 drugs. We all have food thoughts, right? Like we are conditioned to believe things. And the more we listen to this shit, the more we are filling our heads with garbage. Okay, I want to simplify everything. That is my main mission. Okay, this is what I do on a daily basis. It's what keeps me up at night. It's what makes me passionate about what I do. All right, so and I'm like getting off on topic here because I'm just like in a mood. I'm in a mood today. So listen, I'm going to sign off. I'm just kind of checking to make sure I don't have any more questions. If you guys have any questions about anything that I talked about today, topics on yourself, please feel free to shoot me a message. Last plug, next Thursday, March 20th at 2 p.m., I am going to be hosting a live event. Okay, you guys can come on live. If you would like to watch the replay, you can also register, and I'm going to be sending out the replay to all the registrants. I am going to be talking about building an effective fat loss plan, making it simple, easy to follow. It's going to help you guys understand if you want to take a nice, good 12-week chunk of your life and devote it to fat loss in the right way. You could be going into this summer looking and feeling way better than you have any other year. Okay. I'm going to show you how to work to maintain it. I'm putting all the pieces together for you. No more of this diet distraction shit. And if you're someone that's really looking to make changes, this is a great opportunity for you. It's completely free. Nobody's getting charged anything. You just come on. Although I will tell you, oopsie, I am not a techie girl. I am not the tech girl. I freaking hate doing websites, designs, and all that kinds of stuff. But when I made the initial landing page for it, I accidentally had the sign up link linked to my Jumpstart. And so people that were getting it didn't even tell me that it was asking them for $97 to sign up for my Jumpstart, which is not even a thing right now. So I'm not doing a Jumpstart. In fact, I'm not doing any more Jumpstarts. Jumpstarts are done. I love the Jumpstart, but I'm moving on. I'm doing something a little bit different this year. So this masterclass that I'm going to be hosting is going to talk about that. And I want y'all to be a part of it if you guys are looking to make changes. So if that is you and you want to sign up and learn a little bit more about what I do, learn a little bit more, ask me some questions personally on your own journey, sign up, get yourself in there. The link will be in the show notes. If you're on Instagram and you're watching live, you can just shoot me a DM and I will send you over the link to sign up if you don't have it on Instagram. And that's pretty much it, guys. Have an amazing Tuesday. I will see you all either on Thursday afternoon or it'll probably be Friday morning again for Open 25.3, the last one of the season. I cannot wait to close up next week's episode. I will probably talk a little bit about my own journey, my own thoughts on the Open this year. It's been very awesome for me to be a part of it again, and humbling and scary, and has brought a lot of tears of sadness and joy this weekend in particular. And I cannot wait to just talk more about that. So that's it, guys. Have an amazing Tuesday. If y'all know me, you know where to find me: Instagram, Facebook, my clients. You can always reach me out in the Trainer Eyes Message Center. I will talk to you guys all later.